What's up, guys? So 20th Century Fox just a few days ago released a little teaser from its new upcoming movie Logan, and it's very different from the other trailers we've already seen. Those trailers combined raw emotion with awesome action, but this one's pretty different. It's a very slow scene with Wolverine driving a limo through the entire thing, and it's all in black and white and it's grainy, and there's barely audible audio of Logan making a phone call, and he's trying to bargain with someone so that he can buy a boat called a Sunseeker. It's a type of yacht. And this teaser isn't getting a lot of attention, and I'll admit, when I first watched it, I was just kind of like, what did I just watch? But the more I watched it, the more I realized there's a lot there. And I'm gonna give you a complete breakdown and analysis, starting now. Maybe now. One of the first things you should realize is Logan in this phone call says, "This is James Howlett." Now, if you're a hardcore comic book fan, or even if you've seen X-Men Origins Wolverine, you might remember that that is Wolverine's birth name. So I immediately thought, because this is shot in black and white, maybe it's just a flashback to Wolverine's past, sometime early on when he would have still been using the Howlett name. But if you look closely at that penny saver, and if you listen to what Logan is saying, he wants a 1996 Sunseeker. Also, we know from the official synopsis of the movie that most of it will take place at the US-Mexico border, and we've seen from little details in the other trailers that confirm this. Now, the other thing about this penny saver is most of it is written in Spanish. Logan also mentions the boat being parked in the town of Yalapa, which is a town in Mexico. So all of these details together are kind of telling us, no, this is the modern day. And the interesting thing about that is he's using the James Howlett name this far on, which means he probably remembers or has at least found out about his past, which lends a whole new perspective on the idea of the world-weary Wolverine. He's lived this long and he remembers all of it. I mean, the other X-Men movies have just been dealing with the idea of fragmented memories and how that would take a toll on a person, but this guy, he's seen it all, and he remembers it all, and he hates it. Notice everyone he's driving around, you can tell they're privileged upper-class people. Not to say that all upper-class people are privileged, that's not at all what I mean, but they're all fairly upper-class people. James Howlett came from a very wealthy family, and all of these people seem to kind of represent immaturity. They're doing some things that Wolverine used to revel in, but now they don't bring him any joy. So you can see, as their limo driver, he's kind of representative of this outsider looking in and shaking his head at the folly of superficial humankind. And now, here's the other thing. This scene directly parallels a lot of the scenes we've seen in the other trailers, except completely different. Let me show you what I mean. You can see here, Logan is driving the limo, and it's dark, partially because it's black and white, but also he's driving at night, and the windows are covered with rain, so there is no sun. And then, in contrast, these scenes from the trailer, he's driving around in some of these shots with the same limo, other times in this truck, but it's broad daylight. He's not as confined as he was within the city. He's got Professor X in the back. Instead of immature people, he's got his mentor figure in the back. And also, he's not alone up there in the car. You know, in the front seat, he's usually alone in that limo, but in a lot of these shots, he's got little Laura Kinney with him. And we'll get to more on what that might mean in just a bit. So, it's obvious from these shots in these other trailers that this is where Logan feels most alive. And even though he's in complete peril, it's for what he cares about. And it's in stark contrast to this sleepy limo black and white scene. And also, let's talk about this boat that Wolverine is trying so hard to get. It's called a Sunseeker, and I think that's for a reason. We've already talked about how dark this scene is, but I feel like Wolverine is, in a sense, the Sunseeker. He's lived this long, he just really wants some kind of bright place in his dark life. And these other trailers reflect that too. The sun is a major motif in these trailers, from Laura Kinney stealing the sunglasses in this poignant scene, to even Professor X's water tower has a sun-like design on it, and once Wolverine steps inside, you can see the same design, but it's obscured by shadow, and those specks of light poking in make this look more like night than day. So Wolverine is somehow trying to escape this darkness. He's not sure exactly how, but he wants to. Also, the person who owns this boat, Wolverine addresses as Mr. Esperanza. Esperanza is from a word meaning hope. And if you think about it, this really fits. I mean, the sun itself is so full of turmoil and fire. Not literal fire. I like science too, okay? But the sun is constantly exploding, and yet we think of it as oddly peaceful. And I think Wolverine represents that sun ideal very closely, at least the way they're using it here. So then we get the most poignant moment in here, which it goes by really fast, but if you listen to the audio, Wolverine is talking and then he coughs. And that cough is a nice little nod to his healing factor not working the way it used to. And in keeping with the metaphor of the Sunseeker boat, Wolverine says, "I understand the boat needs repairs." Right? Then we get something interesting. Logan says the boat is a retirement gift for his father. And this obviously can't be true because his dad died way back in the 1800s. But if you think about it, there are a couple meanings that they might be trying to get at here. One possibility is, if you remember, Wolverine's biological father is Thomas Logan. That's where he gets the alias Logan. And if you look at this shot from the other trailer, it's printed on his dog tags. You might remember that scene from X-Men Origins Wolverine. So the retiring of the Howlett name might be a symbol for Wolverine embracing his true nature and finding who he really is. Or that might not be it at all, because if you look at these other shots from the other Logan trailers, you can tell Professor X is not doing well health-wise. And he's shaking violently in this part, which means this might be the end of Charles Xavier. Also, Professor X is really Logan's one true father figure. And there's a nice little theme of generations here. If you look at the shots from the other trailer, we've got Professor X in the back, Weapon X driving, and little X-23 in the passenger seat. And all of these people at one point have been crazy, wild people. And yet Professor X matured and he mentored Logan, and now Logan has to mature and mentor X-23. And so the interesting thing with that is that this might also tie into the Sunseeker, as in S-O-N Seeker, like legacy. I mean, Wolverine has lived for centuries and really left nothing behind aside from like some scars and bruises and angst. So it might be interesting to see Wolverine pass something on to the next generation. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe down below for other content. Also, please watch my other video, Top 5 Batman v Superman Movies We Never Saw. That one's less metaphorical and weird. Anyway, laters! Stop. Hey, what's that sound? My skull just hit the ground.